Norway is also referred to as the EV capital of the world for the very high level of EV ownership in that country. And to tell us more about the EV story in Norway and how it is progressing and where does it stand currently in terms of the overall penetration and what has helped them reach this stage, and is there some a page or two to be taken for India from the book of the Norway EV growth story? Let's hear it from Markus Rotevatn, who is the project lead at the Norwegian EV Association. Markus, I hope I got your last name right.
It was perfect.
Oh, great. Markus, tell us, currently, where does it stand in terms of EV penetration in your home country of Norway?
So far in 2025, we are at 94% EV penetration in the new car sales.
Okay, right. And the previous year was how much?
Around 88%. So it's increasing. But we're still not where we wanted to be, because in 2017, the Norwegian Parliament decided all the way across the aisle, all parties decided that in 2025 we should reach 100% EV sales. And we're at 94%, so we didn't quite reach it yet, but we're hoping to at least get some of the last months.
Maybe one or two, a couple of more percentage points before you end it. Why do you think it has not reached the target?
That's a good question. I think the most difficult percentages on the road from 0 to 100% electric vehicles is the first 10% and it's the last 10%.
Pretty much the battery charging rate.
Yeah, that's true. It's it has the same slowdown in the end. I think it's the last people to convince is the most difficult to convince. And we've also seen in Norway that there was a period where most of the new cars were quite big, the new EVs. So they took that part of the market quite easily, but we have seen a bit struggle on the smaller cars, ironically. It's the smaller cars that's kept on the gasoline engines longer than the EVs.
Yeah, okay, they came later in the EV fold compared to the larger car. Yeah. What are the 2 or 3 key things that has helped Norway really reach this globally leading level of EV penetration? And though it's not an apple-to-apple comparison between India and Norway, are there any kind of lessons that you think India can pick because India is also progressing in its EV journey?
Absolutely. I think the first and most important part of the success story is actually not just Norwegian, but the regulation in the whole of Europe. Like the European Union has regulated the manufacturers and demanded that if you're going to sell cars in Europe, you have to meet certain average emission standards of CO2. And those standards have been kind of demanded incremental decrease of the average of CO2 emissions per sold vehicle, so that in 2035 no fossil fueled vehicles are going to be sold in Europe. That's regulation towards the manufacturers that made the manufacturers to turn around and start producing EVs to meet those demands. So that's the one. But still, I think it's important to understand when you look at Europe as a whole, Norwegian EV uptake now is at 94%, and the European is not 20 yet. So there must be something different done in Norway.
Right.
And I would say it's not because Norwegians are more environmental friendly or more interested in EVs. They're not. They are actually not very environmental. We are a country of oil and petroleum exports. Right. But what they did in Norway was to add to these regulations from the EU. They added a lot of demand-side policies, especially on purchase taxes. They removed purchase taxes and they removed the VAT or the GST, as they call it in India. Right. They removed it for EVs to ensure that the sticker price at the stores became competitive to the fossil fuel cars. So when a consumer came to a store in Norway and to buy a car, two comparable vehicles, one is internal combustion engine and one is electric vehicle, you can have this kind of the same price. So they were competitive.
So it's reached the same level in terms of price right now.
So they did policy measures to reach price parity, basically, before, because price parity is not existent in the market yet, but it's coming there.
The policy interventions help.
Yeah. And then I would say the third most important thing has been basically everything about charging. Because I think if you want to have a success with the EV policy, you need to make sure that the transition is smooth for the consumer. And if you don't get access to charging when you have an EV, the transition is not smooth. And one of the best things about being an EV driver is that you can fill up the energy or the fuel in the car when it's already parked. So you don't have to drive to a gasoline station, or you don't have to do all of that, because when you park the car at home, then you should be able to charge it, and it's fully charged when you go back.
Or in office.
Yeah, or in office, absolutely.
So you are saying two key takeaways. One is the policy interventions, which will help bring down the acquisition cost. And secondly, from the usage perspective, the convenience of charging, right? These are two factors which help consumers come in hordes, even though they may not be so environment friendly, may not care so much about the tailpipe emission part.
Absolutely. Right? I think we managed to create a policy in Norway where people are, it's policies that making people change behavior in their everyday life to take part of the green shift and be happy about it afterwards, because EV drivers are very satisfied when they had done that change.
Right.
So you actually, and they don't even have to care about the environment to do that. It's just a part of life that they're changing to, and they're happy about it. So you don't need to go the whole way to convince that this is the right thing to do.
We are here at the India Clean Transportation Summit, and here two key, among the key themes are, one is the CAFE norms, which is the emission part also. And the other part is your electric vehicles. So in both these fronts, you think, India can take a leaf or two from Norway?
Absolutely, from Europe and Norway and from other markets as well. I think it's absolutely crucial to start regulating the automakers. I think it's the most important part is to regulate them to ensure that this transition is actually done for the regulators. And it's not just being like using a stick on the regulator or on the automakers. It's also making a predictable scheme for them to know. So the European scheme has been incredibly predictable, with like every 5 years, the average emissions has to be reduced to a certain point. And then it's going like a stair down to zero emissions.
So you have to have a mid to long term vision also for the policy and for all stakeholders to see.
I would say that because it takes time to do this change, but still, the longer you wait with this, the less time you have. So it's better to start now and do it incremental than to wait another 5 years and then being in a hurry.
Markus, you represent an association which has thousands of EV owners as members. What's the size of your membership currently?
We are now almost 120,000 EV owners in Norway that's represented in our organization.
All right. And the overall car park of EVs would be how much in Norway?
The overall car park is around 2 million, so it's not a big place. And the EV park now, I think, is around 800,000. Yeah.
You said 94% is where you are at currently.
Yeah.
Okay, even though you don't meet the the target, earlier stated target, by when do you think Norway could touch the 98 or to the last 100%?
I think I hope that we're reaching it at least for a month this year. Hopefully, let's cross our fingers.
I see.
But it's difficult because there are some measures that the politicians could have made that would make it easier. So it's still, especially when it comes to leasing and for the companies who are buying cars, it's not that efficient yet. But I think we could see it at least within a year. We should reach a month with 100%.
I see. Right now, as you speak, you said it's about 95%, about 97%.
Yeah, and actually this month so far, August, but it's still a week left of the month, but we're at 98% this month. So it's always increasing. Yeah.
Lastly, I'm curious. I mean, this whole EV story in Norway which is now, shared globally, started off with 2 small cars.
Yeah.
And both Norwegian brands, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
But as of date, you don't have a local player. Tell us about that story.
Absolutely. It was in the early 90s. There were two startups in Norway with one car called the Think and one car called Buddy. So it's possible to Google them and see how they were. Small, very strange cars. Yeah, city cars. And they were like 2 people could sit in it. But they became quite popular. And it kind of was the early movers of the EV revolution in Norway that used them. And actually, in the beginning, in all of these cars had their own personal names. The owners gave them personal names like Katrina or Jesse or something like that. And everybody all around the country that drove these cars knew not necessarily the different owners, but they knew the names of the different cars. So it was kind of a community built there.
I see.
And this industry was new in Norway. We didn't have any car industry before. So a part of the reason why the Norwegian decision makers decided to create incentives and create policies was to try to help build this industry in Norway. It didn't go that well. They were not ready for the mass market. Obviously, they were very small and enthusiast cars, but still they're running. A lot of them are running on the roads in Norway yet. So we're often seeing some of these small yellow buddies or things driving around and they're very popular for the people who are still using it.
Yeah, not as the same, but the similar story here also, because a brand which started off this electric car revolution in India called Riva I.
Yeah.
No longer in production, but you can still see some of them in some of the cities, particularly in Bangalore. Lastly, which are the top 3 brands in your home country currently?
I think for the whole time, the most important car in Norway until this year has been the Nissan Leaf.
Okay.
So it's been the most sold car, or now it's the second most sold car because Tesla has now taken over. So
with the Model Y?
And also the Model S and Model X and all of these have been incredibly popular in Norway. So it's Tesla and it's Volkswagen and it's Nissan, I would say, are the most popular brands.
Okay. And on that note, Markus, thanks for sharing the Norwegian EV industry story with us. And good to know about the development and best wishes for the rest of the charge, I would say.
We'll
ultimate goal
play until 100% charge.
Okay. All the very best. Thanks. Thank you.